Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show for you. We're going to be talking all about meditation, and not just your ordinary meditation, what it does for you. With my co-host and guest, Dalibor Suchi. Thank you for being here.
Pleased to be here.
Well, Trina was going to be on tonight, but she's a little under the weather, and so she's skipping out on us tonight. That's all right, but we want her to get well. Send her some good healing energy. We want her to get better so she can join us again, maybe next time or something. So with that said, let's get right into it. What do you know? It seems like all the shows in the last few days have been talking about meditation. Why is it so important this time of year?
Well, because it's very simple. What really is meditation? Meditation is the opposite of concentration. Concentration being focused thought directed at a specific outcome or for a specific purpose. Meditation is the exact opposite of that. It's basically quieting the mind and seeing what pops up out of your subconscious, dealing with it, and then just going on. And in some systems of meditation, the goal is to have no thought whatsoever. I've achieved that on a couple of occasions where I had no thought, zero thought whatsoever. And from what I hear, it's an extremely difficult thing to achieve. So why is it important at this time of year? Because I guess to reframe the whole situation, reframe, the start of a new year, which is a significant astronomical event because it only happens once a year. And if anything, the most important thing that we have in our lives is time and the calendar. Hello, Lucky Stone. If anything, the calendar, that's like a diagram of time, of our timeline.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like time is going faster no matter what I do. It seems like
Agreed.
I just don't have enough time. Like the last few days, it's just been, no matter what I do, I wanted to sit down, take it easy, and read do some things. And I just keep running out of time. There
Mhm.
is just not enough time. And it's what I thought would take me 10 minutes takes me an hour, or at least the hour passes, but I get the same amount done.
Same
Um,
here. Same here. It's like some kind of a temporal distortion where
mhm.
it's like we're running out of time, but we're also at the same time running out of space because as I mentioned previously, it's amazing how much geographical and climatic change you can concentrate into a small country like my own, which is tiny. It's the size of like New Jersey. Yet, between its north and its south, there's like temperature differences that are quite radical. You know, which I kind of find amazing. Like either we're on like a different sized Earth, and our measuring systems are not exactly accurate, or they're not the same measuring systems that we used to use in the past, or something's off.
Yeah, I do think it's something is off because it just doesn't seem the same. It seems like years ago I had so much more time,
Same here.
and now I don't. Where does it go? I mean, I can sit
Mhm.
down sometimes, say at the computer, which is the worst thing, or get on my phone. You get on the phone here, and an hour passes by, and then you blink, and then you go, "Wow, what happened?" So I try to
Mhm.
avoid that as much as I can, but
Sure,
even
yeah. They have tremendous time wasters, especially like YouTube and especially YouTube Shorts on my. Oh my God, they should
yeah.
get rid of that because somebody sent me one of the YouTube Shorts, like a clip of something. I think some rabbit, And I wound up spending like 2 hours just going through all these shorts, like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, this is interesting. And pretty soon you've wasted half your life away just looking at bullshit.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, it does. It really does. It's hard to, focus, clear your mind, and stop doing all kinds of other things, and then just like you said, try to clear your mind.
Yeah,
And it,
it's a weapon of mass distraction,
mhm. and it,
basically.
do you? Here's my big thing. Do you think that the powers that be are doing this on purpose in order to take us away from, a higher level of learning or understanding or spiritual contact or any of those things?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And I would suspect that the number one culprit would be
Mhm.
video games.
Mm.
The number one culprit, the number one time waster. Because I mean, I don't play any video games whatsoever. But
Mhm.
back in the old DOS days, I was kind of addicted to like Tetris. Or remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
And Tetris, and I was like, oh my god, what a time waster!
Hmm.
And that's just a simple game, you know. And
Hmm.
nowadays you have these completely immersive, realistic, super realistic games, and that people spend half their lives there. Same thing with websites like Facebook. You know, with
Hmm.
yeah, while it's a good thing to be in contact with other people, it's a good thing to be part of your community, all that shit. But you know, it tends to be obsessive where
It,
people tend to spend like their whole day on just Facebook, just communicating with people. You know?
it is a great time waster. But you're right. I'm in the same era that you are. I remember playing Asteroids and Donkey Kong, or
Yeah, yeah.
stupid stuff like that.
Pac-Man.
Tetris, Pac-Man. I really just sucked at Pac-Man.
I was pretty
uh,
good at it.
but yeah, but then after that, it kind of lost me, and I just don't have any interest in video games
I don't either.
since I was a kid, there and back in the day, and just
Yeah. I
you
don't.
know,
Like I said, I don't play any games whatsoever because
mhm,
I don't enjoy them, and even if I did, it would probably be a time waster. I also don't do Facebook. I don't have
mhm,
a Facebook account, but I do have media. I have a Minds account, but that has the advantage that nobody else is on Minds. Nobody.
mhm.
so
Yeah.
you're not gonna waste half your life just communicating with people on Minds. You
Hmm.
know. Besides, when Facebook and MySpace and all that came out, I was against it because I felt that it was going to monopolize people's. Why should one company monopolize all aspects of your life? You know, when you can use email to communicate with people. You could use Skype. You could use Jabber, um, ICQ, um, a whole host of Telnet,
Hmm.
a whole host of different applications. But why
Hmm.
should any of it be under the control of one particular company?
It's true. I mean,
Especially one that provably sells your data to the government.
well, absolutely. But I think that boils down to something like the car manufacturers. Back in the day, remember there was, well, even any of them, there was all kinds of manufacturers, and then it slimmed down. And even when guys try to get in, like the Tucker, remember that, even the
Oh
story of
yeah.
the Tucker, the guy wanted to get into the manufacturing business, and they literally pushed him right out.
Hmm.
And like Tesla's getting into the electric cars, the only reason he's able to get in the way he is because he's tied in with the government.
Yeah, he's tied in with the government. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, and also he's producing electric cars, which are supposed to be the next big thing that the government wants everybody to be driving around. You know, basically a glorified golf cart. Because from what I
Mm-hmm.
heard, you know, one of these electric cars, it doesn't really go far. In other words, on a single charge, I couldn't even get from here to Prague. And I'm like, what
Mm-hmm.
kind of bullshit is
Yeah.
that? Where on one tank of gas in my Nissan, I can get from here to Prague and back.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
so there.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So, and people are voting with their dollars on this stuff because they've been saying that nobody wants to buy these electric cars.
Yeah.
And I can imagine the governments right now are sitting there thinking, how are we going to make these people buy these cars? You know, what kind of catastrophe are we going to, institute that's going to make you want to buy? You know, it's kind of like when the gas prices go up, everybody went out and got rid of their big boats and bought a little car, and then
Or
soon
they
as the gas,
got, or they bought diesel cars.
or diesel, yes, and especially over in Europe, there diesel
Yeah.
was big. I remember going to England, and I visited there, and everybody had a little diesel car with like a one liter engine,
Yeah.
with a
Yeah.
1 liter diesel Volkswagen or something, and
Hmm.
man, they got super mileage with it, and they could go all over the place. And I'm thinking, why would you trade that super mileage in on that little 1 liter diesel to get a electric car that you can't go anywhere with without charging it numerous times?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Plus, anytime you stop to charge it, not only is that downtime, but that's also kind of a security risk. Any
Yeah,
place that you stop at that's like off the beaten path, that's like some highway rest stop or whatever, those are usually pretty dangerous. You know.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And are they going to put those charging stations where, and then how are you going to pay? And what if they ain't working? You get to the place and, I've seen videos where the guy goes there, well, it doesn't have the right plug for my car, or it just doesn't work, or what.
Hmm. Yeah,
Anyway,
that's right. You're relying on this, and you get there like with just enough charge, and it doesn't work. Yeah, so you're stuck. So what
yeah.
happens, like if it happens to be minus 40 degrees, which is not out of the question here in Europe, uh, it's like minus 40 degrees. You can't like turn on the heater because you don't have any charge, and you're stuck there.
Speaking of charge like that, we were I don't know how we got off on this, but we'll get back on the meditation. But anyway, the Sweden, was it Sweden? Yeah, Sweden had the switch to electric buses, but they heat. It's cold there, so they heat the buses with electric, and the buses can't. Well, they had to ditch all their buses and go back to the gas ones because
Hmm.
they couldn't go anywhere. They can go 20 miles or so, and then you have to go plug it in. Well, how
Hmm.
how are you going to make people do anything if you got to stop every few miles and charge for 3, 4, or 5 hours? It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Well, they give you good time to meditate that at that point. Well, I got a 3 hour layover. What do I do? Sit in my car and meditate, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
geez.
ridiculous because and people point out, oh, well, it's the early days of the electrical automobile. Bullshit. I mean, it was Edison that came out with the first electric vehicle.
Yeah, electric cars were. I did a show on that a while back. People, you can look it up. And it was all about cars, and it talked about electric cars, steam cars, and gas cars all came out about the same time, and there was a big population of electric cars. It was a very popular thing in the cities.
Mhm.
But then it just kind of died out because the electricity to the plugins weren't there. You couldn't really go anywhere else if you wanted to. Once people started traveling out of the city and going places, it wasn't practical anymore.
Yeah, once you're more than a couple of miles from the nearest electrical outlet, it's moot. It's
Yeah.
useless unless you're carrying your own batteries, in which case, that also kind of defeats the purpose because you're like expending all that power just to transport your own battery.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
sense does that make?
it's crazy. Well, anyway, let's get back to our subject here, and let's see. I got lots of stuff to start with. First off, we are going to be talking about your brain. Now, let's see. I can share the screen here. We'll get on with this. Your brain. What's up with your brain? Did you know that meditating stimulates your brain, believe it or not. They've done studies on this stuff. 8 weeks of meditation studies can make your brain quicker. You want to think quick, be sharp on the job, go home and meditate. It's not rocket science, people. But like I said, we're talking about, we don't have the time because we're always working. And I think there's a plan against that. And, even though we want to do stuff, we end up being like this guy. He's kind of, oops, how did I mess that one up? Anyway, yeah, you're here and you're trying to meditate and work on your brain, but the phone is ringing. Somebody's knocking at the door. Something's happening. So your brain is shrinking. It's not working properly.
Yeah. I get that. Totally get that. And it's also understandable that meditation, because like I said at the beginning, it's a form of downtime. And your brain needs that just as much as it needs sleep. Can you imagine how dysfunctional you become after just one day of lost sleep? It's like I don't even feel confident driving if I haven't slept properly the night before. It's dangerous.
It is. Not sleeping is almost as dangerous as drunk driving. Yeah, drunken and driving. Exactly. Let's see. Anyway, I give a shout out to all the people in the chat here watching tonight. We got a big crowd. We got Lucky Stone, Scotty Boy, Max Vision remote view classes. Right up after this, Max Vision is gonna be putting on a great show, I'm pretty sure. Max, you can put a link in the description here, or I'll find it soon. B Freeman's here. Pamela Jean, Steve Bow, Musgrave Griffin, Trey is in the house, and Scotty Boy. Teresa Dianton, what a great show you guys had yesterday on A7. Richard is here. Thank you for coming. Grandpa Brian. And let's see, I hope I didn't. Slightly Slanted Sleuth Steve is in the house. Thank you for joining us tonight. I did leave a link in the description in case, or in the, not the description, in the comments in case anybody wants to come on and join us and tell us about their experience in meditation, or their ideas or thoughts or any of that stuff too. So if you got something going on, you just, and Pearl Jones come to join us. And there she is. Hopefully she's going to be on our show sooner or later because, you got to start out the new year with Pearl.
And a new year it is. It's the year 24 AI, I call it. Why AI? Because it's 2024 and it's 24 AI as in Anno Interneti, meaning in the year of our internet.
I heard somebody else say the same thing, that 2024 is the AI year, and I don't know where I heard that. But anyway, let's see. I'm going to do this. There we go. So, do you have to meditate for hours? Maybe that's what's driving people. I know I have that problem because I feel like I can't take time to just meditate for a little bit. That's my biggest drawback. But really, 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Can you take 10 minutes out? We were talking about time, how it's all messed up.
Yep.
But
yeah, I agree. As much as little as 10 minutes can do the job. There's other things that you would sacrifice more time for, like eating. A lot of people get an hour for lunch, but you can eat that same food in 10 minutes, maybe even 5.
Well, how many people are smokers? You go out for a smoke break.
Sure.
Max says, what is meditation to you? Sitting, walking, looking at the sky. We're just about to get into that. Yes. What is it? I think it could be all of that, and then some. I mean, I heard Wayne Steiger, he was talking about it, and he said he gets meditation while he's washing the dishes.
Well, I get it while washing myself, or even when sitting on the toilet, believe it or not, because that is kind of an enforced downtime that forces you to do nothing else but that one thing. Or,
Mm-hmm.
I've also experienced meditative states while chopping wood
Mm-hmm.
with a chainsaw, because that's a very focused activity, paradoxically enough, because you have to be at your wit's edge so that you don't make a mistake, because a chainsaw is quite dangerous. Plus, you got like ear protection on, eye protection on, so you're kind of closed off from the environment, and
Mm-hmm.
wearing gloves, obviously. So it's kind of your senses are kind of dulled, but you're at the same time you're alert
Yes.
because you
Yes.
have to be.
I know I cut a lot of wood in my day,
Hmm.
and you're right. I would think about other things while I was cutting this wood.
Yeah, and then some larger noise startles you unbelievably, because you've been in that zone, in that alpha zone, alpha brainwave zone, or of like 10 to 14 cycles per second.
Hmm.
So any little thing was gonna like snap you out of it, and like go like, whoa, what was that?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Um, let's see. Teresa says you're making a good connection, so meditation might last longer. She said earlier here, she says, try for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
And
sure.
then, if it's working good, you might want to try a little longer.
Hmm.
And that's true. Just try a little longer. Maybe you can't do more than 5 minutes.
Hmm.
Or just do 2 minutes.
Well,
Uh, Whatever.
typically it takes me 2 hours to shower,
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
because yeah, because hey, Nina the Mystic, what's up? Because I like to sit there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I agree on that. Now, here's a good one. You see all these people. Do you have to sit there, cross your legs and pinch your fingers and do all of this stuff? Is that a must?
No, no, it isn't, because a
You
lot of
know?
people can't even do the proper asana, or the yoga pose. I can do it, of course, because I got into yoga when I was about 7 years old, because my mom was
Mhm.
into it. So there used to be a show on TV. I forget. I don't know who it was. Jack LaLanne or some guy.
Yeah,
And
Jack
yeah,
LaLanne.
my mom used to watch it. So
Richard Simmons. Oh man, he would
yeah.
do that. He would get into that cross-legged pose like this all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Richard
Richard
Simmons.
Simmons. Yeah, but yeah, he came later. But this is like early
Oh,
70s. I
oh yeah.
forget. Yeah.
I'm just saying. I remember watching Richard Simmons the jazzercise
Yeah.
on the big poofy hair. Oh my gosh.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. The
No.
1980s
Oh
hair, yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah. He's getting old. He's in his 70s now, man. I tell you, it's funny.
I haven't
Uh,
seen him. I haven't seen that guy in years.
yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
kind of faded out of, all that stuff went down in the 90s, and he just faded out, and they come up with new stuff. Now here's
Hmm.
a lady. I want to look at her. Now look at, we always picture ourselves doing this. I'll go back to this one.
Yeah, you don't even
you
have to be.
know, you got to go outside and be in the sunset to do your meditation. So everything is so wonderful and good. Or maybe you got to go out on a boat dock and picture yourself there on the boat dock. And then you get the best meditation and whatever. But no, really, all you have to do is you can be in your bedroom,
Hmm.
sit on something soft. You don't have to sit on cross-legged. You can sit in a chair, anything. It doesn't
You could
really
even be
matter.
lying. You could even be lying down.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
See, the reason why why they tell you to sit is so that you tend not to fall asleep. Uh,
Yes.
where if you lay down, there's a chance that you might fall asleep. So if you're going to be doing your meditation before you go to bed, that's probably the best time to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um, well, we got, but then, like I said, we go back to the brain, and we're gonna go here, and this is some stuff I found before meditation. You can see the hot spots in the brain, the cool spots, and your brain is like a computer. It likes to be cool. To work best, it has to be cool.
Hmm.
After your meditation, you cleared up all the junk, you took out the garbage, and here's your brain after. Now, which brain do you want to have? You want to have the, you know, partially overheated brain, or you want to have the nice, cool brain? And we know
Right.
we're most creative with our frontal lobe. Our frontal lobe is the creative spot. And you
Oh
look
yeah.
what happened. Look what happens from the frontal lobe. Now all of a sudden it's huge. I mean,
Yeah.
it's totally changed.
Yeah. 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 Totally. I don't exactly know what the optimal operating temperature of the human brain is, but I would I would think it's around 36.6 degrees, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I'm not totally sure, but yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, and then we got our, I don't know if we can see all this. If I blow it up even more, our
Hmm.
focus attention practice typically directs the mediator to concentrate on and in and out of cycles of breathing. So is breathing important for your,
Hmm.
meditation? I think absolutely.
Hmm.
The mind wanders. Yes, people's mind wander. I've heard people say, I can't concentrate, I can't get everything out of my brain. It's just so noisy up there. A brain scan study of Emory University has pinpointed distinct brain areas that become involved as attention shifts. Mind wandering, yes.
Hmm.
Image of the mediator in the scanner illuminates the posterior, the cortex, I can't read some of these words, and
Cingulate cortex.
yeah, okay, and other areas that are part of the default mode network, which stays active when thoughts begin to stray. Yeah, we know our thoughts begin to stray.
Hmm.
Okay,
That's not
sustain.
always a bad thing.
Yeah, because that's where you get your creative ideas, is when your
Exactly.
thoughts
Oh yeah.
thoughts begin to stray. But the idea of meditation, the goal of meditation isn't to control your thoughts, it's to stop letting them control you. That's
Yeah.
the biggest.
Yeah. By
Uh,
focusing on your breath, you're focusing on something that's constant, pretty much, or theoretically is constant. And if that's what's supposed to prevent your mind from wandering, when
mhm.
you're focusing on something that's 100%, you could also focus on a metronome if you had to, if you don't feel like concentrating on your own breath, or some other rhythmic thing, or like Slayer, like Richard the Red said, Slayer. Well, that works. Why not? That's rhythmic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, he did say that. I remember seeing that. I do like Slayer.
Slayer,
I think he was
sure.
saying that earlier. Yeah,
Hmm.
if I can find it up here. But anyway, um, oh, he says too, gardening is a wonderful meditation. How about that? Yes.
Agreed. Oh
Uh,
yeah. Oh yeah.
so
Yeah, because
anyway,
it, pretty much anything that where you're not online, right, is
mhm.
can potentially be a meditative activity.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Anything can be. Let's see, sustaining focused.
Hmm.
The distal prefrontal cortex stays active when the meditator directs attention on the breath for long periods.
Hmm.
And that's, that, I mean, a lot of people wonder why you're doing all this. And because you're doing this, it's, why is breathing so important? Well, that's the thing is if you can control, I read somewhere, if you can control your breathing, that's a huge thing, because breathing is you breathe and then
Hmm.
you don't think about it. You just don't
Yeah,
think about breathing. It just is
exactly. See,
and
breathing is unbelievably interesting because it's one of the few autonomic activities that you can control consciously. Unlike your digestive system, unlike your parasympathetic skin responses, unlike even your heartbeat, your breath is like the only autonomic activity that you can actually consciously control. And when we're looking at this diagram of the brain, if you're familiar with the work of T.D. Lingo, he came up with the theory that by thinking about the brain, we can influence the brain. That the
mm,
brain is the only organ that we can influence by thinking about it, and he was specifically referring to the amygdala, which switches between the front of the brain and the rear of the brain. And what you
mhm,
want to do is switch that amygdala, that almond-shaped organ that connects the two, from back to forward, and in effect, like creating like a bigger space for the brain to process information.
mhm. Yeah. Grandpa Brian says not only control your breathing, also control your heart rate.
Hmm.
And I've
To a
seen those.
lesser degree, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's cool. Pa Joe is in the house. He says I find bicycling helpful. Wonderful. That's a good thing to do. Can't do much in the winter when there's a lot of snow out, but yeah.
Hmm. For those of us in the northern hemisphere, but as regards getting back to the breath thing, there's a Hindu practice known of breath training known as pranayama, and some people have said that even smoking is a form of pranayama, which
Oh,
is
right.
basically a ritualized system of breathing, where you're
Mm-hmm.
breathing in through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Except that with smoking, you tend to do the exact opposite, which is inhale through the mouth and exhale through the nose.
Well, and see, that's the thing. Smoking was developed by, well, tobacco and stuff was brought over from the Americas to Europe with the Indians.
Yes.
And they sat around. They didn't smoke because they were smoking, because they got high off it or anything like that. They smoked, as a ritual. It was more of a ritual, like, here,
Yes.
I'm going to take a puff, I'm going to pass it. Of course, we've seen that in our chat many a times, puff puff pass, but
Hmm.
that was the whole thing. It was, here, smoke the pipe, sit around, talk, breathe, et cetera, et cetera. And they just didn't smoke tobacco. They smoked herbs. They smoked, all kinds of things in that.
Yeah, they smoked Jimson weed,
Yep.
crab apple, all the cherry leaves, all kinds of stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Um, so it was,
In addition to marijuana, of course.
yes, exactly, exactly. Like I said, there was all kinds of, um, lots of things. So it wasn't just, and so I don't know what the other countries were doing, if there was even smoking back then or not. I'm not sure. That I've never looked into.
Well,
Um,
actually, yes, they did in ancient Europe. It is known that they were smoking marijuana.
really? Hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, there you go. It's been
Hmm.
around for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we got mindfulness, also called open monitoring meditation. Mindfulness entails observing sights, sounds, and other sensations, including internal bodily sensations and thoughts, without being carried away by them. Expert meditators have diminished activity in anxiety related areas such as the insular cortex and the
The
amygdala.
amygdala. That's what I was talking
Amygdala.
about.
Okay, amygdala.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. And so there you go. And that's where it's located, right
Except that
there.
mindfulness is much more than just like a dispassionate observance of thoughts. It's more like it's not just that, but it also includes things like extrapolating your thoughts and okay, thinking in terms of if everybody thought this, would the world be a better place? Or if everybody did this thing, would the world be a better place? That sort of thing. In other words, uh, figuring out the ramifications of all your actions and all your thoughts. That's mindfulness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Trey says if the whole Dalai Lama mountain of boys were meditating simultaneously, wouldn't their mountain be healed? And I'm thinking there's something to that. I mean,
Well,
really.
I got a big problem with the Dalai Lama myself.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, but I mean, in theory, regardless if it's the Dalai Lama or 10 guys out on, in the middle of nowhere or something, it doesn't really matter who it is. But the idea of people sitting around, we've done it here where we've influenced things by, okay, everybody, we want to send healing energy or we want to do this. Well, how do you do that? You have to focus and concentrate, meditate a little bit in some way, shape, or form in order to send that healing energy, or maybe turn a hurricane,
Hmm.
or something like that. That's the whole point, and I totally agree with that.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so compassion and loving kindness. Meditating can do that. In this practice, the meditator cultivates a feeling of benevolence directed towards other people, whether a friend or an enemy. Brain regions that fire up when putting oneself in the place of another. The temporal junction, for instance,
Temporal
shows it.
parietal,
Okay, I'm glad you can pronounce them. Temporal
right up
parietal.
here.
Yep. Okay. Junction, for instance, shows an increase in activity. Wow. Okay. So there is something. Scientists didn't study this because it was, uh, just screwy stuff. They're studying it because it actually happens. They can take brain scans nowadays. They can do all kinds of stuff, but this is all part of it. We were just talking about sending healing energy. You send your healing energy to a
Mhm.
friend or an enemy, or different regions of the brain fire up.
See, exactly. Well, that's the whole point. If you can actually put yourself into your enemy's place, then that's when you start moving forward as a fully developed human being, because that enemy is just another aspect of you when it comes right down to it.
Yeah. I mean, if you could see where they're thinking, I always say, we think of different people as evil and whatever. And, we always go back to the Nazis and how that was a horrible thing going on and everything. And I agree, it wasn't a great thing. But
Oh yeah.
if you were in their place, what were they thinking? Ooh, look, let's see how evil we can be. Or were they saying, we're right, you're wrong? We're trying to, change the world in our favor.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure the Dalai Lama himself was thinking he was acting in the best with the best intentions by stealing all that gold from the Tibetan people and exploiting the working class of that same country. So,
Mm-hmm.
and running basically a theocratic fascist dictatorship while he was still in power. You know, a lot of people think he's a good guy, but I'm pretty sure he's not.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but isn't that kind of how all of these
All of these, yeah,
guys? Yes, they all look like good guys until they're not good guys, and
exactly, yeah. But
and we
yeah, yeah, see, in terms of with the Nazis, I think a lot of people became Nazis out of coercion because they were afraid for their own lives. I mean, the first major batch of people who became Nazis were actually Jews because they thought they could like hide under the lamp, as they say. You know,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, join the crowd that's winning, or
Yeah,
or why fight the tidal wave because you're a one in a thousand and you're not going to win. You might as well go along, or yeah, it just ain't working
exactly.
out for you.
That's if they wanted to stay in the country. The other option was just to leave.
Yeah, and a lot of them did. A
A lot
lot
of
of
them
them did.
did. Yeah.
Okay, distraction and awareness. The
Salience network.
salience network, which includes the anterior insula and the anterior
Cingulate cortex.
oh, I'm glad you can pronounce these, underlies the mediator's awareness of the distraction. Once cognized, or is that cognizant?
Cognizant. Cognizant.
Cognizant that the mind has moved, moved? I don't know.
Roved. Roved.
Roved. The volunteer pushes a button to let researchers know what happened.
Hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And
it's a way of self-monitoring your own thoughts. Like, okay, at this point, I am distracted, right? At this point,
yep.
I'm not thinking about what I'm supposed to be meditating about, because usually you set a theme.
Hmm.
Hey, Grandpa Brian, good night.
Yep. Grandpa
Uh,
Brian,
you,
thanks for joining us.
usually you set a theme for your meditation, and
Hmm.
say to yourself like, okay, right now I'm gonna meditate about um I don't know, the financial situation in Germany, right?
Yeah. 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 I mean, well, exactly. People get this distracted with that. There's a lot of stress going on.
Hmm.
Like we talked about in the beginning. It's like, you're not meditating. I'm not meditating because I got so much other stuff to do. I'm distracted. I sit down I'm gonna meditate. So I sit down and, well, guess what? Oh, my phone beeped. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? I better look at that. So I look at it. 25 minutes later, it's like, oh, where did the time go? Well, now I don't have time. I got to get going.
Or you sit down and you realize, oh, I forgot to do this. I forgot to check
Yes.
the mail. Or and then 5 minutes later, oh, I'm hungry.
Yeah. 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 Time. Well, next thing you know, an hour went by. Well, now I don't have time to do that.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah,
oh,
and
so
see, that's the whole what we were talking about before. That ties in with that. All these distractions, like the video games and the viral videos, that's to get you away from meditation. They don't want you meditating in real life. They don't want you meditating.
yes, exactly. Um, F. Kitty says, but meditation will help you deal with that. It's like an exercise. If you're good, you can do walking, exercise, meditation. Absolutely. But the thing is taking the time to do it without being distracted. It's a hard thing to do. There's all these benefits
Hmm.
that can happen when you actually do it, but we're so distracted that we don't.
You could say the same benefits or ascribe the same benefits to drawing because
Yeah,
that's something everybody can do, except that when you look at most people's drawings, they look at like the drawings of 5-year-old kids because that's when they stopped drawing. That's
yeah,
when they stopped developing that ability. So by consciously like just drawing anything, uh, after a while you're going to be better and better at it to the point where you're going to draw like a master. It's just a matter of devoting the devoting some time every day, setting aside that time and doing just that without distractions.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And along with that, we go to reorientation of awareness. Two
Mhm.
brain areas: the dorsolateral, that's the prefrontal,
Dorsolateral prefrontal cortex,
yes, the prefrontal cortex, and the inferior partial
Par-
lobe,
parietal.
parietal, okay,
Yeah,
lobe are among. I'm glad you're well studied. Are among those that help to disengage,
disengage.
yeah, attention from a distraction to refocus on the rhythm of the inhalations and the exhalations.
Hmm.
So there you go. You got your two brain areas, and they're pointed out here. Here's the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, and over
Hmm.
here is the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex right there. Two parts of
Dorsal,
solar,
dorsolateral. But
solateral.
yeah, nobody's gonna remember that.
No, but the
Yeah.
point is doing these things that it disengages your attention from distraction and refocuses them on your breathing, inhalation and exhaling and inhaling. Put it easily. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the
So
front part of your brain, like right here, these
yeah.
two parts, where there is a specific therapy, I forget what it's called, where they pass like a weak current right through there, like really weak, like let's say 5 volts, and you don't even feel it, and it's supposed to do anything from cure depression to cure mania, cure a whole host of diseases.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Anything about flow state, or is it the same as maintaining focus?
It's the
Well,
same as maintaining focus, I guess. Maintaining focus in a protracted manner, for longer than say 15 minutes, or if you can maintain a flow state or a hyper focused state for like an hour, well, that's a gift. That's a gift.
hmm yeah, it's hard to maintain all that. Gets the person confused, like that guy. The hardest battle is against yourself. Love yourself. Take control of your life, and that is a
Easier
big
said
thing.
than done.
Oh, absolutely. And that is the battle. You're battling against yourself. Um, I wrote down a lot of things in my study of all of this 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 week. Um, let's see, where am I here? I get my little light out. If you're stuck in survival mode, there is no space for love, joy, and happiness. Instead, your mind is scanning for hidden dangers. In a state, your energy is spent before it's accumulated, but you can learn to calm down with meditation. You can train your body to reset deeply.
Hmm. Yeah.
And why are you doing that? Because this triggers our nervous system. If you can do a mantra, I know Lucky Stone, he does a bunch of these mantra things, meditation things. If you can do a meditation for 5-10 minutes, that's great. It relieves your stress, your hormones, and believe it or not, it clears your hormones out too.
Yeah, you need that because the human body has 12 hormones, and believe it or not, every single one of them is a carcinogen.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of carcinogens around. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
every hormone is a carcinogen. So, although as a male, like you want more testosterone, that's actually not good for you long term.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, anyway, here's the thing: the only thing making you unhappy is your own thoughts.
Brilliant,
Yes,
brilliant.
well, it's true
Hmm.
because really, I mean, I can see where the world is falling down around me sometimes, and I just walk outside or go look around. It's like, oh, I just watched the news, and the world is ending, kind of stuff.
Well,
And
that's what I always tell people. If the news is making you depressed, then stop looking at the news.
yeah, and you walk outside, the trees are growing, the sky is blue, the birds are chirping, the wind is blowing, the sun is out, and you're thinking, well, there ain't really that much bad. It's just like it was 10 minutes ago, except I got this horrible news that this, that, and the other. It's that's the thoughts in my head that have been, got me into this uproar of the, anxiety and self-preservation mode and all these other things. I can't sleep. But really, uh
See,
yeah, it's none of that. It's
see,
it's the
yeah,
same as it
yeah,
was 10 minutes ago.
exactly, exactly. For many years I avoided the watching the news or anything, before the internet.
Hmm.
And because my rationale was, if it was important enough, I'd hear about it from my friends, right?
Yep.
So why do I have to like concern myself with these things, with this minutia of like, oh, this politician's an asshole, this guy's a dick, this guy stole money. Why do I have to concern myself with that? Let other people concern themselves with that, and then just get back to me with the most important thing.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. And then we got, did you know 90% of our problems are caused by our own thoughts?
Big time, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. The only thing making you unhappy are your own thoughts. How do we do that? We just change them. Change your thoughts. Like you said, you were talking about
Change your
that.
focus. Yeah,
Change
change
your
your
focus.
focus.
And if you can't just, most people just can't flip it on and off like a switch. That's where the meditation comes in. Stop 5 minutes, clear your thoughts. Like, it's like clearing the catch on your phone. Just
Hmm.
put that thing that says close all the apps, and you close them all, and you start out fresh. And then
Hmm.
you relook at everything. Sometimes that's what it is. And I know people are going to say, oh, I don't have time, whatever. Okay, let's go to the 10 types of meditation. Focus breathing. We've talked about our breathing. Box breathing. Now, I don't really understand what box breathing is.
I don't know either. Is it
Mhm.
breathing into a box?
Not sure. Not sure.
I'm not sure
We
either.
have anxiety relief meditation. I know there's a lot of people that have a lot of anxiety, and I don't understand why, but they do. Transcendental meditation.
Hmm.
There you go. Mindfulness meditation. We talked about the mindfulness. Somebody mentioned here they go for long walks. That's walking meditation. Trauma informed meditation. Yes, that would be a good one. Look at they put piling rocks. Sometimes you can do that. Do puzzles, pile rocks, split wood. You said go for a walk. Other things people do to just stop focusing on the world around them. We have a mantra meditation. Lucky promotes this a lot of times.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
repeating the same thing over and over again. It's kind of
mhm.
like focusing on your breath, except that you're focusing on a thought that you keep repeating over and over again. Like a common one would be Aum Mani Padme Hum, Aum Mani Padme Hum. You just keep repeating that in your mind over and over again.
Yep. Yeah, and if you don't know mantra or something, go over to Lucky's channel. He's got a lot of them on there. Every day he seems to come up with a new one, you know, and a lot of them are, I will, be better tomorrow. I'll be better than the day. Life is gonna, change, and my life will get better. Wealth will
Hmm.
come my way, and you just say that over and over. Wealth will come my way. The world is working my way. Wealth will come my way. The world is working my way. And over and over. Here,
Yeah.
do nothing meditation. That's a real easy one. Everybody should be able to do that one. Do nothing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hmm.
Do nothing. And of course, you can do natured inspired meditation. Like I was saying, go outside, look at the trees, the wind, the sun, the clouds, the birds chirping, and it makes my day better right off the bat. It's like,
Yeah.
hmm, I start to realize that, nothing's really changed. It's all me that's getting, programmed with something else, and nothing's really changed. I didn't
Hmm.
lose my job. I didn't, my car didn't blow up. I still have water, and I still have food, and I have a warm house, and
Hmm.
life ain't too bad, you
Yeah.
know.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I did nature-induced inspired meditation because like at this one house that I used to live in right before I moved to back to Europe, when I lived in the United States, there was like a wooded area behind my house and there was a rabbit there, and
Yeah.
I made friends with this wild rabbit
Ah,
and gradually gained his trust, and I would feed him and everything. I would even show him a book about rabbits, and he took an interest in some of the photos. At at one point, he'd even fall asleep right next to me. He trusted me.
Oh, wow.
And when I left, I called back. I called the owner, the guy who rented it. He's like, you're not going to believe this, but there's like a whole family of rabbits that come at the same time uh, uh, to to the house uh, every day at like 2 p.m.
Mhm.
In other words, this one rabbit took his whole family to come and visit me, except that I was gone by then.
Uh, there
Like
you go.
like two adult rabbits and like 10 little ones.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Richard says, I've got a pet wild crow. I spend a lot of time with her daily.
cool.
That, that is so cool.
Crows
And
are extremely intelligent. Extremely. I mean,
mhm,
they're as intelligent as magpies, I'd say. They're because they've even been able to like utilize human technology for their own benefits. Like they'll take like a nut and they'll put it on the roadway and wait for a car to run over it, so that
wow.
they can like pick out the pieces. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty smart. Monkeys do that kind of stuff too.
Hmm.
They said, start washing their food and things like that. They see people, seen, and then they passed it along. So,
Hmm.
it is one of those things. Well, we got yoga meditation. Now you said you did some yoga.
Oh yeah.
Thought through mantras, chakras, kundalini, spiritual freedom. And this is kind of what it's all about. Like I said, you don't have to sit in these positions. You can lay on your bed, sit in a chair, go for a walk, all these good things. But it's all important to do those things. Um,
Yeah, see those the individual positions. If you get a book on yoga and look at the positions, they're designed to like accentuate individual um, uh, aspects of the human body.
mhm.
By just sitting, like that's designed for purely just for meditation. But if you do some of
Yeah,
the more complex poses, part of that is also exercise, but part of it is also stretching, and stretching is just as important as exercise, because by stretching you cause increase blood flow to that part of the body, and that's just as important as exercising. So
hmm and speaking of that, what is the best doctor? The best doctor is sunshine, water, rest, air, exercise, and diet.
yes, and yeah, I've come to that conclusion myself. That's why, I've never been a vegetarian. I don't think I could be a vegetarian. But one thing I do avoid, like the plague, is sweets. Anything that's sweet, like I
Yes.
always say, if it tastes sweet, just spit it out. The only exception in my diet would be cough drops, but that's like
Yeah.
only a little tiny,
Well,
tiny bit.
sugar makes inflammation.
Yeah.
Inflammation makes you get arthritis. It wrecks your
And
joints, your heart,
almost
your
all disease is a form of inflammation, like
yeah,
cancer, heart disease, rheumatism, arthritis. That's all a form of inflammation. And you trigger a lot of those same hormonal responses by using sugar substitutes. So, like,
yeah,
you're not in the clear by using any kind of sugar substitute. If it tastes sweet, it's going to cause your body to secrete the same hormones as if you were eating actual sugar.
yeah, yeah. And then the thing is this processed food we got nowadays is
Hmm.
so full of all kinds of other things that it's doing the same thing too. It's probably doing a lot of other things. So
Hmm.
best is not to eat so much processed food.
Yeah, I don't need any of it. I basically eat just bread, cheese, and salami. And every
Mhm.
midnight, I eat 3 cloves of raw garlic on an empty stomach. I swear by it. It's
Yeah.
probably what's kept me alive all these years, despite like all the other injurious things I've done to my body.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Garlic is super good for you. If
Oh
you
yeah.
can eat garlic, eat more.
Hmm.
I like the pickled garlic. Man, I'll take 3, 4 cloves of that pickled garlic every freaking day when I till I run out anyway. But oh man, I love that stuff.
Yeah,
It doesn't
that's good
matter
too.
how you eat it, it's just that you do, right?
Hmm. Oh yeah. Well, it contains allicin as well as like a whole bunch of trace minerals as well as enzymes that you don't get anywhere else.
Hmm.
Um, but I eat it raw on an empty stomach. A lot of people can't handle that, but you can work your way up to that by doing just I don't know, one clove of garlic, and then progressing, getting up to maybe three, four, five, six, whatever. But what garlic does is it dissolves the gunk inside your veins and
Hmm.
inside your brain, so you don't get an accumulation of fat deposits because it dissolves those. It's also anti-cancer, antifungal, antiviral to a degree. So, and of course, in addition to that, I also do colloidal silver, but that's not every day. It's like, as the occasion dictates.
Yep. Yeah. Colloidal silver is good.
Make my own. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a little thing. Actually it's real easy to make. I
Hmm.
mean, people think, oh, you got to buy it in a thing. It costs a lot of money. It does, but you can make it yourself. It's
I
actually pretty
know.
simple.
I've seen it like a little vial for $70. I'm like,
Yeah.
give me a break. No. Uh,
You can buy a thing off of Amazon or eBay for 20, 30 bucks, and it comes with the silver and the whole 9 yards, and you just plug it in or put a battery to it, and you can make silver for years and years and years to come. I got one of those, and
yeah.
works good. It's easy.
I made my own. I made my own by taking a 1 ounce bar of silver, cutting it in half, and
Hmm.
just attaching that directly to the mains. And
Ah,
believe it or not, that it has since you're actually giving off only a very tiny amount of silver anytime you use it, that's enough for a lifetime for an entire city. Okay,
it is.
that one
Yeah.
ounce of silver. Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
Amazing, isn't it?
Hmm.
Amazing. That little bit could, save so many.
So
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
lives. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also
Yeah.
doing hyper dosing on vitamin C because I,
Yes.
I generally don't eat fruit because fresh fruits and vegetables are not my thing. For some reason, I guess it's the pesticides or whatever, it always upsets my stomach. So
Hmm.
instead, taking vitamin C 4 times a day, uh, 3 grams 4 times a day. So
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
a therapeutic dose. And again, you work your way up to that. You don't start out with that because otherwise you get diarrhea.
Yeah. I take a lot of vitamin C, and then during the day I'll take the emergency vitamin C, that powdery stuff. I put it in my drink, and
Hmm.
then in the morning I have my vitamins, 2 capsules of vitamin C.
Hmm.
Yeah, vitamin C is good for you. It prevents a lot of, if nothing else, it prevents a lot of things.
Exactly, and not just that, it benefits every organ of the body, uh,
Yeah.
every single organ of the body. And one of the main things that it does is it reduces inflammation. And like I said before, inflammation is the root cause of almost all disease. Almost all
Mm-hmm.
disease is either some form of inflammation or blockage.
Yep.
And once you get rid of that, like they say, within a healthy body dwells a healthy mind.
Yes. And you got to have the healthy mind, and that can make your body healthier too. It gets you
It
thinking both
works,
both ways.
yes, both ways. Yeah.
Here's a good one. You should sit in meditation for whatever time you want, minutes in a day, unless you're too busy. Then you should sit for more time.
No.
That was one of the quotes I looked at. Um, Here's things you can do. You don't get upset with people and their situations because both are powerless without your reaction. And that's another thing, that when you're meditating, you're thinking about these are some things to think about while you're doing your meditation. Here, speak only when you feel your words are better than your silence. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
while you're meditating, you're quiet, you're using your brain to think, and maybe in that silence, you have more powerful words. Um, okay, let's see. What else do I got here? Okay, the benefits. I think we went through this. Helps prevent emotional. Here's emotional eating. People who meditate, can get
Hmm.
rid of their emotional eating. It
Hmm.
reduces your stress. I think we did that. Less anxiety and depression. I know a lot of people suffer from depression. Improves your mood, improves your sleep. I know there's a lot of people who've said, I can only sleep a couple hours a day. Well, I don't know how you function with that. Oh my gosh. Lowers your blood pressure and enhances your immune system. Now,
Yeah, that's
with
what
all
vitamin C does. It enhances your immune system. But see, a lot of these things, meditation might not help all of these things. In a lot of instances, you got to clear your body of waste and stop using artificial chemicals, like
Mhm,
specifically things like deodorants or toothpaste. I stopped using toothpaste 40 years ago,
mhm,
and um, you don't need it because you don't
yeah,
need it. I use baking soda, even though you don't really need to use even that. You just need the toothbrush.
yeah, yeah,
Just clean it with the water and toothbrush. That's all you need.
yeah, yeah. You don't need much. I think they overrated it so they can sell you something.
Sell you a
Hmm.
chemical that gets inside your pineal gland because the fluorine, most toothpaste contains fluorine, and that's a neurotoxin, and it also settles inside your bones, and it's not easy to get out of the body. So,
Yeah, that is so true.
mhm,
Okay, here's the last thought of the day. Whatever is going on in your mind is what you are.
yes, brilliant, well stated. Yeah,
Yeah, because there's so many people who have thoughts, and they become that person. You want to
yeah.
change yourself. Change your thoughts.
You
uh
you
you
are
know
your thoughts. Yeah, you are
yes.
your thoughts, and thoughts are real. Thoughts are things, as we say.
Yeah.
And if you catch yourself like thinking something negative that you like about a negative outcome that you don't want to happen, then force yourself. No matter what you have to do, I don't care if it's biting your tongue or jumping up and down, just to get your mind off that thought and think something
Mhm.
else. Because you don't you by thinking something, you could actually bring it into fruition. And we've proven that with like focused intention, things like that. I mean, that's a demonstrated fact. I mean, they've proven it in government labs. They proved it at SRI research with Ingo Swann. That
Mhm.
focused intention really does have a material effect on objects. So
Mhm.
that's extremely important. That's why you want to get your house in order, so to speak, uh, and clean out all the junk by doing some kind of a meditative practice, some kind of organized system. It's like a file management system. Like you don't just throw all your files into one spot. You categorize them.
Mhm.
You have like your movies separate, your music separate, right?
Mhm. Yep, yep. Exactly, exactly. And that's a biggest thing. Well, let's wrap this up. I put a link in the description for Max Vision's remote view class, which is he's got it going right on now, and you probably get in on the first thing. He usually has a little delay there where everybody's getting into the show. But I think we did real good, didn't we? I
Yeah.
think we hit on all the topics, and
Hmm.
from For the month of January, we're going to be concentrating on meditation. I'm going to be doing some shows all week long on meditation. And next week, we'll do some more on meditation. I don't know what we're going to have planned, but we'll get something planned. Maybe incorporate some yoga in this, or or maybe something. We're going to get something going on. I got my chakra chart up here, and maybe that'll be affected some of that. But anyway, we got a lot going on. I think January's we're turning over that new leaf, a new year, if you could say it. And it's a good time to get people out of the depression because of the dark days, the anxiety of what's going on in the world. So this is a perfect time for it. Perfect time.
Agreed. Oh yeah. Definitely. No time like the present. No day like today.
Yes. Good time to start. And you don't have to do it for hours. You don't have to do it while you're just, quiet sitting. You can wash your dishes, you go for a walk, clear your mind. Just don't think of the world around you. Concentrate on something else. Say a mantra. That'll get your mind off of things.
Yeah, if that's the thing. A lot of people follow the news obsessively. Well, I would suggest start following other things obsessively. Follow, say, fashion news or
Yeah.
gardening news.
Yes, exactly. Gardening news, all of these different things. Let's see if I can find it here. But go over to Lucky Stone. He has got a great channel. Maybe he'll be nice. Oh, here it is. But he can go. He gives a lot of mantras.
Yeah,
A
he's
lot of
got
stuff.
some every once in a while he comes out with a really good video. I mean, I'm blessed to be in a community of so many different cool people. It's amazing. I'm so grateful.
Yes, yes, and that's the thing. We all have something to contribute.
Yeah.
I always welcome everybody who wants to come on this show and talk about their importance, stuff that they can do, what they think is going on, or what they have to share with everybody else. And I don't think I've ever had a show where somebody got on here and really didn't have anything to contribute, or
Yeah.
because they're all. It was always good. It was always good.
Mhm.
And I welcome anybody. Anybody wants to come on, you're more than welcome to be here. Door is open. Anyway, go check out Lucky Stone. If you can't think of a mantra on your own, grab one of his. It doesn't matter if you steal a mantra. You just have to think of that. It's just repeated over. Maybe he'll do some more shows on it for this month or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of that is inspired by the work of Louise L. Hay. Louise L. Hay did a lot of work with mantras.
Mm-hmm. I never heard of that.
Yeah.
We'll have to look that up. But
Mhm.
anyway, Jeannie's saying she's got to go. Good night, everyone. Sleep well. Absolutely. And so do we. Remember, tomorrow I will be on Nina the Mystic with episode 16 for Horns of the Goddess. So join me there tomorrow night with Nina the Mystic with Horns of the Goddess for Sin Day Live. All righty.
Cool.
And with that, thank you, Delabor, for being on tonight, and your wise wisdom, as always. Really great.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And with that, people, go out, do something nice for your neighbor. Do some meditation too. Maybe that will clear your mind up, and your new year will be new. And if everybody could just clear their mind, maybe all this stuff in the world would probably just go away, and people wouldn't realize that the guy across the street isn't your enemy. He's just like you.
Exactly. And if somebody's oppressing you, most of the time, all it takes is this. Just don't
That's
listen to them.
that's right. Don't listen.
Yeah.
Clear your thoughts. Remember, whatever's going on in your mind is what you are. So,
Hmm.
with that, be the frequency you want to receive, everybody. Love y'all. Peace, everybody.